What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the weekly discussion and review for UnOrdinary episode 262. Now, like I've been saying, these last few chapters are some of the most important in UnOrdinary as of yet. A lot has happened. I will say, the fights lately have been a bit underwhelming. Or no. The fights of this part of the story are a bit underwhelming, but I think that's to be expected when everyone's not as strong as they normally are. So they have to get more creative and they have to be very careful with how they're using their powers. And also they are getting hurt a lot more, as we've seen. So let's go ahead. Let's get right into episode 262. So chapter immediately starts off where Uru accidentally uploaded extra from episode 2 at the end of 261. She used a little too much of the cliffhanger from 262 in that episode, or for 262 in that episode. So it starts off with John rushing the Spectre goons, and Blake and Ison check to make sure that he's okay, So it starts off with John rushing to the Spectre goons, basically saying like, yo, I'm sending you guys to hell. Fuck you. You know, John's pissed. And we love it when John's pissed. He goes off. Anyway, Blake checks on Ison to make sure that Ison is okay. And if he can check on the club members while Blake defends him from behind as more members start to show up and continue the ambush. Now, while Blake is taking care to shoot down the ambushers, Ison sees a sniper shot coming for him, and he shoots, showing one of them is still on the loose, the yellow one that John wasn't able to take down from before. Luckily, Ison does get Blake out of the way unscathed, and Blake shoots down a guy who was about to stab Ison from behind. And Ison does mention that they're starting to lose their control of the situation, and if more members continue to show up, it's not going to look good for them. So everyone, Blake and Ison are especially kind of on their last legs right now. So that's kind of risky to see. So John continues his fight, and he encounters a shield. And as he gets blocked, the other sniper who shot Ison at the end of last episode 261, is seen kind of preparing. Her blast kind of work like Kamehameha style. So, you know, like the big attack that Blake used to do a lot. She's charging that up, and she blasts to shoots at John, and it almost hits him. It manages to distract him long enough, though, for another member to sneak past and slash at his arm with a knife. But John ain't having none of it. He, like, gets slashed in his left arm. He's like, oh, fuck, no, you're not getting away with that. And he grabs the guy by his arm and immediately takes that motherfucker out. And the shield user even says, like, he was the one we were warned about in the reports. Which means that I mentioned before how Terrence may have updated his reference, his like sheets, his analysis on everyone. He may have updated it. I mentioned before that he may have updated it ever since things had started changing, but it seems like that possibly was never updated at all. And I think it also goes to show that like everything with Terrence kind of was an act, like, you know, him being surprised at John and everything, him being kind of amazed with John. Anyway, So yeah, there's that. Now, as we see Blake and Ison continuing to hold their own, Terrence actually shows up with his party, with his guys, and he mentions that they have about 15 minutes before the dampener starts wearing off. Now, this is important because the chapter actually started at 11:15 a.m. in the story, and the next time that we get updated on the time is immediately following this scenario, where it's 11:20, so now they have about 10 minutes before it starts wearing off, aside from the dampener that Remy and Arlo currently are struggling with. They got dampened a bit after everyone else. So, Remy and Arlo, they're really struggling with their fight against their Spectre goons. Arlo isn't totally unconscious at this moment in time, but he is falling asleep. And Remy even mentions she needs some way to get him back on his feet. So then Shockwave Girl with the purple hair, the one who I really love her design, she sends like another kick at Arlo, and he manages to block it one last time before he himself falling unconscious. And it's at this point, Remy makes a stupid, smart, wise, dumb, and necessary play. She uses as much electricity as she can to force Arlo awake again. And it works. Arlo immediately gets back up and he's like, fuck, that hurts. And, you know, that's good on Remy for doing so. Like, that was a really smart decision on Remy's part. Unfortunate as it is that Arlo has to suffer more damage in order to get back up to fighting shape. So, as Arlo gets back up, the dizziness guy, he tries to grab Remy, but she avoids it narrowly. She's just kind of like, ooh, back up, bitch. And she avoids his touch, and Arlo gets back up on both feet and punches the guy. And punches him back to the Shockwave girl. He like sends her flying back to her. And he traps them both under a dome. And I wasn't expecting this callback at this moment in time, but I'm glad, like, you know, it's still here sometimes. Pinky electrocutes him both from within. Like I mentioned before, I'm a big fan of what the move I call the lightning guillotine, because I've always wanted to see John do it. Just trapping people in a dome and then just being like, die, bitch. And they just get electrocuted within the dome. I've always wanted to see that, and I like that Arlo and Remy actually kind of have that team attack down a fair bit. But this is really interesting because as Remy is electrocuting them from the barrier, it also looks that like Arlo is taking damage from the lightning as well, because when her lightning is attacking, Shockwave Girl and the other guy, they aren't doing anything at that moment in time, but we see Arlo wince in pain. So after that though, Shockwave Girl sends out one more attack and trying to break out, and that does cause Arlo to cough up a little bit of blood. So, you know, Arlo is getting in pretty rough shape. Then the two guys from behind them that Remy started fighting, that Remy was focusing on before, they slowly start to get back up. And that shows that Remy couldn't finish them off. Before the end of last episode, which kind of makes sense because Remy even mentioned at the very end of her part of last episode, she didn't think that she'd be able to handle all four opponents if Arlo fell unconscious. So that was a good callback. Good little, like, you know, like, way to remind us, like, no, these guys weren't done, Remy said herself. So, as they kind of, like, close in on them, Arlo says that there's no time for them to react, and it seems like the fight is done. They unfortunately have lost. But our girl, boom! Sera arrives in the nick of time and takes down the back two. And it does seem like the guys Arlo and Remy were fighting, seems like they're down for the count, because I don't think Sera does not attack them, so it seems like Arlo and Remy did manage to finish those two off. Anyway, Sera shows up in the nick of time. She has not been dampened yet. It'd be really dangerous if she does get dampened, but Sera is compromised in the sense that she is very weak. We'll get to that in a second. So, Sera arrives and she takes down the back two. And she asks where John, Blake, and Ison are. But as Remy tells her, she starts to tremble a little bit. She's like, you know, like wobbling and everything. This happened to her earlier at the lab too. And Arlo tells her that she needs to start taking it easy. But Sera just brushes him off, telling him, like, this isn't the time right now. Like, I need to save John. And she continues ahead. And Arlo, in a surprising moment for the series, Arlo kind of realizing he's too weak. He doesn't even try to stop her. He just lets her continue on. It seems like he doesn't even follow her. He just lets her go. Like it was kind of weird to see Arlo not put up any protest whatsoever, because Arlo is usually the one, like, you need to think really smart about this. But right now Arlo's just kind of like, there's nothing I can do to stop her. That's how I took it anyway. So we're back with John. It's still 11:20 at this point. And from their side, it's still 11:20 from their side. And now he's contemplating how he's going to take out both the beam user and the shielder. And he's trying to figure out how to create an opening. And John, using his fighting genius. John is a master when it comes to fights. He knows what to do, even in his weakened state. And I really like that we are getting to see that, like, John's experience is what's kind of helping. John isn't completely overpowered in this instance. Like, he's taken severe hits, and John, like, is really trying to think. He has to, like, use his mind to, like, get the best of the situation. And I like that we're seeing that, because it just shows, like, John isn't just powerful. We've seen this before. At this point, John isn't just powerful. He's smart in his own right. So I really like that. Anyway, he's able to outsmart them, and he basically creates an opening to where he can run around on the side of the shielder, knock him out, and then go for the beam girl. Or maybe he goes for the beam girl first, then he takes out the shielder. Anyway, he almost succeeds in finishing them off. He was aiming for their shots. He was aiming for their heads as he was going to finish up 2 more charge shots. Would he have killed them? I don't think so. I think he would have just, like, knocked them out, which at this point they really need to, but they might have been out anyway. Anyway, point is, though, he gets shot by the sniper, the yellow sniper, at his ankle, which knocks him to the floor, and he narrowly avoids another shot. And John even mentions, like, I forgot about the sniper. Shit. And, you know, it makes sense. It makes sense that he would forget about the sniper in this instance, because he's kind of focused on these two. And he hasn't seen the other sniper shoot at him as of yet. He didn't see what happened to Blake. What almost happened to Blake. So, yeah, it's scary. It's scary. Our boy falls to the ground, and Blake, actually seeing John on the ground, he immediately goes to help him out. And when he does, John actually kind of looks at Blake as if he's questioning, like, why Blake is so willing to help now. Like, because, like, literally about an hour or so ago, Blake told him basically, like, fuck off. I don't believe anything you're saying. And he, like, you know, thinking John hadn't changed at all because of the Terrence situation. So it's nice. It's nice to see, like I said, it's just nice, like, seeing these interactions coming finally. Like, you know, everyone, like, really putting aside their beef with everyone and just, like, helping each other out, keeping the students safe, like, risking everything to keep everyone safe and to help each other out and have each other's backs. We've seen this with John and Arlo a fair bit of times, begrudgingly so, for the two of them. But, like, you know, things are different now. There's no time for everyone to be immature about everything. There's no time to, you know, as much as I have my own feelings about characters like Remy and Arlo, there's no time to care about that anymore. Like, these guys, they're involved in some serious shit at this point. So I like that we're seeing this, like, seeing, like, characters mature in their own rights. Everyone. You know, we've seen John mature these last few episodes. We've seen Blake mature throughout the whole series. Everyone's growing up. Everyone's doing the actual right thing. Not the right thing in the context of their world, the right thing in the context of our world. Like, we're seeing them all want to help each other. I'm rambling about this. I'm sorry. Anyway, so chapter ends as Ison stands as the sole protector of the club now, standing before 3 Spectre members, and he now questions how they're supposed to manage the situation as John being carried on Blake's shoulder, like, not like, you know, like hunched over like that, like, you know, just like Blake helping him walk and everything. He snipes one of the guys for Ison, having Ison's back too. Now, if memory serves, Ison is kind of the first person that John had major beef with. Like, Blake, John never really cared about Blake too much, but Ison was the one who Arlo was the one who started everything, like, you know, behind the scenes, but Ison was kind of like the first push of John to be like, no, fuck off, leave me alone. So it's nice to see that too, but that's where the episode ends. And honestly, this episode wasn't too crazy. Like I said, there were some really nice things that happened to it. The fights are kind of basic at this point. They're not as action-packed as they usually are. So I'm not really on the edge of... Well, I'm on the edge of my seat, but for a completely different reason. But it's nice seeing the high tier struggle. It actually is. seeing everyone kind of struggle because they haven't been this weak in so long. It's cool. It's kind of interesting. We've seen this with John before. We saw it briefly during the flashback scenes for New Boston with Claire and Sera. But it's kind of the first time, and we saw it with Arlo when Ray was. We saw glimpses of it for Arlo. But you know, it's cool. It's cool in the sense that like we're seeing just how crazy a lower tier fight can actually get, but at the same time we're seeing everyone like they're weak. They're a lot weaker than they're used to, but their raw skill, their mastery of their abilities is what's carrying them right now. They're messing up. They aren't winning the fight 100%, but like these people are high tiers for a reason. They know what to do with their ability. So it's cool. It's nice to see. Overall, I would give this episode, level 7.3. Give it a level 7.3. You know, not a lot of crazy things. Well, a lot of crazy things are happening. It's cool. I think tomorrow's episode is going to be, or today's, depending on when this gets released. I think the next episode, 263, is going to be insane. Absolutely insane in the membrane. Because Sera's here now. There's 10 or so minutes left on the timer for the dampener for John's group to wear off. What I think could honestly happen, Terrence shows up at the last minute or close to time. He's about to get someone. Sera is already weak as it is. She's already dampened as it is. So, she's already feeling like the side effects of like pushing herself too hard. So she can't react in time. But John, his ability starts coming back. He realizes, oh shit, I can sense her now. And he just goes to Terrence in the nick of time and just like, no, fuck you. Boom. Kicks Terrence away, breaks the needle and everything, and is just like, I think that'd be cool. I think that's a high possibility. Like I've been saying, if anyone is going to get dampened this time, it's going to be, or if anyone's going to get disabled this time, it's going to be Ison. But I don't think Uru should disable. I honestly don't think Uru should disable anyone. She definitely shouldn't do John. Like, Uru, what are you thinking if you're going to disable John? Anyway. Yeah. Next episode's definitely going to be a major hit. But that's going to be it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed the review and discussion. And as always, see you back tomorrow. And see you, Space Cowboy.